A soldier does not fight because of what is in front of him. A soldier fights because of what is behind him. He loves what is behind him, and that is the passion he carries when he moves ahead in a soldierly manner towards the war. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a very warm welcome to all of you. Or as we greet in the Indian Army, Jai Hind. My name is Major Juhi Barwa. I was commissioned into the Indian Army in the year 2012 from the Officers Training Academy at Chennai. Now, today's speech here today, my aim is to motivate you to join the army. If not, at least to instill a sense of pride and feel a respect for the organization and the people in this organization. In this presentation, I will be telling you about the role of the Indian Army, how to join the Indian Army, the various avenues for your personal development in the Indian Army, and the ways you can join the Indian Army. I will also be covering the ways and means in which a woman can become an officer in the Indian Army. On the slide, as you can see, these are these various steps as on to how I will be covering this presentation. But don't worry, the list may seem long, but I promise not to bore you. Moving ahead is the introduction into the Indian Army. The defense of the Indian nation is primarily by the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy. The Indian Army covering the land area, the Indian Air Force covering the skies and the Indian Navy covering the oceans. The Indian Army is the second largest army in the world with an approximate 12,37,000 active personnel. By active personnel, I mean individuals who are currently serving in the Indian Army. The roles of the nation are as you can see on the viewfoil. For your easy understanding, I will just go through it. They are the security from external threats, internal peace and security, rescue operations, and United Nations peacekeeping missions. To explain to you further, let me tell you about firstly the primary role of the Indian Army, which is to safeguard and secure the country from external threats. Secondly comes the internal threats, from where sometimes it is our own people or the internal aggressors who want to harm the peace in the nation or the people of the country. And to fight against them, the Indian Army again steps into action. Coming on to next is the rescue operations. Every year, this world and this country faces a lot of natural calamities, whether it be floods, landslides, or the very recent and current COVID. In all these times, the Army takes another step forward in making sure that the people are rescued and provided with the basic amenities like food, water, medicine, and during times of corona, even oxygen. And lastly, the role that the Indian Army plays in providing soldiers in the United Nations peacekeeping missions to war-torn countries to ensure that there is peace in these countries. Moving further, now I will tell you the different arms that comprise the Indian Army. The Indian Army comprises of three basic arms. They are the combat arm, the support arm, and the logistic arm. The combat arm comprises of the infantry, which has the foot soldiers, the armored with the tanks, and the mechanized infantry, which bridges the gap between the infantry and the armored. Moving on, we have the support arms, which again comprises of the signal, which is responsible to provide communication, the aviation, which is responsible to transport men and material through the air, the artillery with the big guns to annihilate the enemy during times of war, the air defense, which ensures that our own skies are safe and clear from the enemy aircrafts, and the engineers who build anything and everything, be it roads, bridges, accommodations, helipads, you name it, they make it. Thereafter, lastly, definitely not the least, the logistic arm, which comprises of the medical, the much needed thing during wars, the electrical and mechanical engineers whose basic role is to ensure that all your equipment and vehicles are always in a serviceable condition, the ordnance providing you with the arms and ammunition, and the supply which provides man the basic need, that is ration. Coming on to the rank structure in the Indian Army. I repeat this for you if you already know it. I repeat this for you so that in case you ever meet an army officer in uniform again, you will be able to recognize the rank of the officer. Firstly, starting from the rank that you get commissioned into is the lieutenant, the 2-star rank. Thereafter, we move forward to the captain, then the major, the lieutenant colonel, the brigadier, the major general, the lieutenant general, the general, and finally the field marshal. Now I will tell you something about life in the army. Now firstly, life in the army is not easy. However, that said, life in the army is not difficult either. What is life in the army is that it is challenging. It challenges each and every individual in the Indian Army to be mentally, emotionally, and physically strong. After all, you are protecting the nation and you have to be the best. In place of asking you for all this, the country definitely provides you with something. In return, it provides you with a sense of self-reliance, something which you can utilize once you retire from the army. Moving on further. Now, what does an ordinary day in the life of an officer look like? Well, it starts from the morning PT, that is the physical training, which may include the 4.5 kilometer run, correction, the 2.4 kilometer run, the 5 kilometer run, strengthening exercises and such like. Thereafter, you have your office, then your lunch break, then maybe a little bit time to take your nap, and the last official parade, that is the games. Seems easy? No. Why? Because your time in the army does not get over at that point of time. You might be officially off duty. However, a soldier is never off duty. Because after all, the protection of the nation is a 24/7/365 job. And in spite of the fact that you may be back home safely or not in your office, you are always on duty. Sounds boring? Definitely not. Why? I will tell you one thing. Remember the office hours that I was telling you about? Well, your office might be anywhere in the country. Well, it could be located, let's say, in the snowy mountains high up in the Himalayas, or you could be inside a tank in the desert, or you could be aiming to look for targets in the jungles, or you could also be practicing target with your fellow troops or learning how to scale mountains. And if not all this, then you might be training hard to achieve that gold medal in Olympics like our troops just recently did in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Moving on to something that is very close to my heart. Joining the Indian Army was a dream that I had since I was a child. It was my dream, it is my dream, and I'm living my dream. Very few of us are lucky enough to say that we live our dreams, and I am one of those lucky people donning the olive greens. Life in the Indian Army, especially for a woman, is something like this, and I would like to explain it to you. Firstly, the Indian Army opened its doors to the women in 1992, and in 1993, the first batch of 25 women officers got commissioned from Officers Training Academy, Chennai. Officers Training Academy, Chennai is the place where both men and women get trained, and the physical and endurance trainings there are equal to both genders. I will tell you something about the training that is there in the Officers Training Academy. It looks something like this. Well, firstly, when you join, especially if you are a girl, you become a lady cadet. Whatever your name is, for example, my name is Juhi Barwa. I became Lady Cadet Juhi Barwa. I am given a lot of things as a lady cadet, or a cadet for that matter. New uniforms, new shoes, a lot of things. However, one thing that all of you will be deprived of, something that you will have to lose as women, is your hair. Not to worry, the training is required to have your hair short. And trust me, it is easier when your hair is short. Moving on, we have the physical exercise where they train you to build your muscle and become strong. Thereafter, we have the obstacle course, which makes you strong enough mentally and physically to ensure that you can pass or cross any obstacle at ease. Thereafter, the training to shoot, to kill, where you get to fire, not just from the ones that you can see, you fire from a pistol, you fire a rocket launcher, you fire the INSAS rifle, and you also learn how to lob a grenade. Thereafter, we have something called the Battle Physical Efficiency Test to ensure that if ever needed to get deployed into war, you have that ability. It is said in the army that when the going gets tough, the soldier gets going. And that is what we get trained for in the Officers Training Academy. Now, apart from your bodybuilding strength, or rather the strength to increase your mental health and your mental mindfulness as a soldier, what we need to ensure is that you become trained in your brain, trained in your head. And that is why we have the study periods where you think like a soldier, where you learn to think like a soldier, where you are trained to think like a soldier. Lastly, the very famous, or should I say, the infamous ragda or the punishment. Worry not. The punishment is something that makes you disciplined. And after all, in the army, discipline is something that sets you apart. Discipline is something for which the Indian Army and its soldiers are known. Finally, the day arrives of the passing out parade, where is the day when you celebrate it with your friends and family and you become a part of the elite Indian Army and become a lieutenant. And moving on to next, apart from the things that the organization takes you or gives to you, you have a lot of avenues in which you can excel. Some of the places where the women in the Indian Army have excelled and proved themselves, I would like to bring out. Starting from the top, and literally, in 2005, women conquered, the women officers of the Indian Army conquered the Mount Everest. Thereafter, following closely behind, a group of women officers made the Limca World Record by conducting, or rather celebrating, the Yoga Day at 19,000 feet. Following close at an international level, Lieutenant Colonel Sophia Qureshi was the first woman officer to lead the Indian Army contingent into an international forum. Thereafter, Major Suman Gavani in the year 2020 was instilled with the award of United Nations Military Gender Advocate, a very prestigious award. In 2015, Major Divya A made history by becoming the first woman contingent commander, and with her team, she walked down the Rajpath Road where the chief guest was President Barack Obama. Adding another feather to her cap, or should I say a sword, Major Divya A, as a cadet in the Officers Training Academy, was the first woman cadet or the lady cadet to be awarded the coveted Sword of Honor. The Sword of Honor is given to the best cadet between both men and women, and in 2010 she made history. This history repeated itself twice after, but needless to say, it definitely won't be the last. It is said that courage is not the absence of fear, but our understanding that there is something more important than fear. Lieutenant Colonel Momita in the year 2011 ensured that while she was posted in Kabul when the Indian embassy was bombarded and her fellow soldiers were caught under rubble, she rushed to their rescue and put them in the hospital, earning herself the first Sena Medal to a woman officer in the Indian Army. Following close behind, in the year 1997, Captain Ruchi Sharma became the first female paratrooper. She earned the coveted Maroon Beret with her hard work and undergoing the grueling training of a paratrooper. Following next, if the sky is not what you like, if the mountains are not what you like, you can always have your feet firmly on the ground and try your hand at, say, something like a bike expedition, like the one you can see on the screen, where a group of women officers from the Corps of Electrical and Mechanical Engineering drove for hundreds of miles, creating history once again. If not that, you always have the option of going or taking part in a car or a bike rally, which is conducted in the mountains and in the deserts. Moving next. If, like me, shooting is what you like, then you can earn yourself the coveted marksman's badge by proving yourself that you are one of the best shooters out there in the country. Thereafter, if your heart still wants more, there are ample to choose from the Army Adventure Wing, which organizes a lot of adventure activities all throughout the year. Lastly, but definitely not the least, I would like to mention two women officers, Lieutenant General Madhuri Kanitkar and Lieutenant General Punita Arora. They are the only two women officers of the Indian Army to be ranked as Lieutenant Generals. And needless to say, we would definitely like to see more women officers. So, are you inspired yet? Do you think that you have it in you? If you do, or if you think that you are a little scared and you are apprehensive about what your powers would be or how you would cope with the organization and its training, worry not. I suggest take a step, try it out, and trust me, you will come out with flying colors and you will not realize when you become a lieutenant in the army and be proud of yourself and make your family and your country proud. Coming on to next, I will now tell you a few ways and means of joining the Indian Army. There are two types of commissions in the Indian Army. One is the Permanent Commission and the other, the Short Service Commission. The Permanent Commission has a minimum year of service of 20 years and the Short Service Commission has a minimum years of service as 10 years. Firstly, I would like to tell you about the Permanent Commission. The Permanent Commission is after three different stages. It is Class 11, Class 12 and your graduation. After you finish your Class 11, you can apply for the UPSC exam and your entry is to the National Defence Academy at Khadakwasla. After Class 12, if you have physics, chemistry and maths and a percentage that is dictated and different every year, a cut-off percentage, if you have that, then you get your entry to the Officers Training Academy at Gaya. Finally, a graduation in any stream with a cut-off percentage of 60 degrees. You get yourself into the Indian Military Academy. Now, once you clear your exams, thereafter you face a 5-day service selection board. And once you clear that interview and the selection, you move on to another few days of medical. And once you're done with it, you go on to your respective academies. Coming on to the Short Service Commission. The Short Service Commission is open to both men and women. It is through two different entries. One is through NCC and the other is through CDS. If you have a B grading and an NCC C certificate, you can directly go for your SSB. If you do not have that, you can apply through the Combined Defence Services examination. Once you clear this exam, you go on to again your 5-day SSB and then your medical. After this, if you clear it, you go for training for 11 months at Officers Training Academy, Chennai. Thereafter, at the end of 10 years, you have three different options. One, you can opt out and have faith in yourself that you can do well outside and be proud that you serve this organization and the nation. Or have an extension of 4 years if you want to give more to the country. And finally, if you want permanent commission, apply for your permanent commission. These are the few ways in which you can join the Army apart from the Medical Corps, which is through the Armed Forces Medical College. I hope that I have instilled some interest in you towards the Army if you are not already interested. And if not, I hope at least to have instilled some sense of pride and respect towards the soldiers of the Indian Army. I hope this has helped you get motivated and increased your understanding towards the organization, which is always there for your safety and protection of the nation. Finally, I would like to pay my regards to all of you. Godspeed, Happy Independence Day, and Jai Hind.